Guys, I wanted to dive into the post that I just made. So it is called the Pyramid of Importance. And I know this sounds like, something that you might look at, breeze through, maybe like look at it and say, looks pretty nice. Nice little thing that you created, and thank you. But I want you to read it and absorb it, and that's why I'm here to explain it a little bit more so that way you totally understand why this is so important. So when a lot of clients come to me, they are looking to lose body fat. It's a pretty common occurrence. It's probably 95% of my clientele. They want to change how their body looks. They want to feel better. They want to have more energy. They want to feel more confident. All of those things, right? However, a very small percentage of those clients come to me healthy. And when I refer to health, I don't necessarily mean that they're sick, that their blood work is terrible. Your blood work might be fine, or there might be some things going on, but nothing major. I'm talking hormonally healthy. And that seems to be one of the first things that goes. When we're stressed all the time, when we're not taking care of ourselves, our hormonal health is what gets impacted, right? So our body releases a lot more cortisol because we're stressed all the time. We're not sleeping, which is a stressor. We're eating probably food that we shouldn't eat as much of. And so we're causing a lot of inflammation internally, and we're not maybe meeting our needs. We're not moving properly or enough, or we're moving too much depending on how much you exercise. There's a lot of things that impact cortisol. And at some point your body gets tired of having to try to play catch up, try to survive what's happening to it, and it no longer can. And so what happens due to chronic stress, lots of inflammation, is our hormones get out of whack. So for women, typically we see a lot of estrogen dominance. I also see a lot of women who don't produce enough estrogen because they overtrain, they undereat, and they don't manage their stressors well enough. Maybe they're not getting enough sleep, but ultimately they're not recovering enough. I have been there myself. That's why I had to pull back significantly on the amount of CrossFit training I was doing. I was training competitively at one point in time a few years ago, and I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't perform. I couldn't recover. My labs weren't good. And so, I was tired of feeling like shit every day. So I decided to pull back to take care of my health so that way I could be a healthier individual. Kind of important if you want to accomplish a lot of different things in your life. And so there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Men typically see a decrease in testosterone. Ironically, they also then see an increase in estrogen, especially as anyone adds more body fat. Your body fat can also produce estrogen. Fun fact. Not great if you have a lot of body fat. And so not only now do you probably have a lot of estrogen that you don't need, you have a lot of body fat, which also just makes it more challenging to lose weight. So it can be a very vicious cycle. And so clients come and they're like, please help me. Help me lose body fat. I want to get leaner. I'm tired of looking this way. How long should this take? Probably like a month or two, maybe 3, right? To lose the weight I want to reach my goals. And unfortunately, I can look and obviously listen to what they're saying and know right off the bat this is going to be a lot longer of a process than they're hoping for. And so my job is to, of course, set expectations where they should be, because I don't know how long this will take. Ideal case scenario, someone comes to me and it's a very quick process. Their body responds immediately and it's like, but that's not the norm. The norm is it takes weeks, maybe even a handful of months for the body to feel safe and to feel like it's getting what it needs to respond. Health doesn't happen overnight, nor does weight gain. We didn't get to where we are now because of the last couple weeks were out of hand and now I gained 20, 30 pounds that I want to lose. It's an accumulation of choices over a longer period of time. So weight loss is typically the same way. And getting your health back is also the same way. This is why when women are on birth control, the recommended amount of time to expect it to take to recover from being on the pill is 1 month per every year. So if you've been on the pill for 12 years of your life, it's going to take a year potentially to normalize your hormones. So things just take time, unfortunately. I know it's not magic and it can't happen any quicker. But when clients start, my job, if we're going to use the house analogy, which is one of my favorites, is, sorry, my nose is like itchy today, is to basically rebuild their whole foundation. Clients want to worry about the shutters. They want to see this beautiful house that they're envisioning in their minds, and they want it done within the maximum time of 3 months. And I get it. It's way easier. Life is way easier when things happen just immediately whenever we want them to, but that's not reality, nor is anything worthwhile accomplished in a short time frame, right? So my job is to kind of start at the basics, start at the ground level, what needs fixed, because your house has some major issues with it. The walls are shifting, there's massive cracks in the ceiling. I'm really not worried about what kind of cabinets you want to put in the house or what the shutters are going to look like, because you've got bigger problems. And so we have to start at the ground level. Where's your sleep? Are you eating enough? And most of the time that's not the case. So my job is to make sure that the client eats enough. How's the food quality? Are you managing your stressors? And a lot of conversations I've been having lately, especially during COVID, is, are you taking care of yourself? Because I have a handful of moms that are working from home, and even if they're not working from home, they're momming 24/7, which is a new thing for a lot of them. Or they used to have help and now they don't have help. And that's challenging. But it's challenging too because you don't have as much free time as you once did. Now you're trying to work, manage kids, and also find time for yourself and not feel guilty about it, which you shouldn't, because if it's a need versus a want, you need to take care of it. The problem is this could be a whole side rant, but when we don't meet our needs, we increase our stress. So it's like every day that we don't meet our needs, we're pouring more of that stress into that cup. And all of a sudden it starts overflowing. And how we try to meet our needs, because we feel like this is efficient, is to eat, drink, go shopping, do all of these things that don't actually fix the problem. The problem is you're ignoring the signal from your body that's saying, hey, we need something. We need you to take better care of yourself. We need you to work out regularly. We need you to go into nature, meditate, journal, whatever it looks like, whatever you need, in order to feel like we're managing things a little bit better. But we're drowning in life right now. And so that's a huge thing that I'm talking to people about. And it's prevalent right now because I get it. It's a little taxing. It's a little more stressful than it usually is with everything that's going on. But that's your signal that you might need to add even more self-care than normal. And then making sure you're moving your body, but also not overdoing it. And I think that's all I had in that bottom part of the foundation. But then once that is intact, it's not like we only work on those things. Usually it's an accumulation of everything. Usually I start somebody with macros. So they have their caloric intake, they have their macronutrient breakdown that they're following, but we're really honing in on that foundation, right? So the macronutrient breakdown is a piece of that eating enough. So they're eating enough carbohydrates so their body can create hormones. They're eating enough fat for that as well, but I see a lot more people who are slashing their carbohydrate intake, hoping that will work, especially women, when in reality, that's not going to do much good. And then once we have those things honed in and things are going really well, then we can worry about nutrient timing, if that makes sense for the client. That means like, how many meals a day should I have? How should I eat before my workouts and after my workouts? Those things potentially can make a difference, but not if your foundation isn't solid, not if you're not eating enough food. And then that last piece is supplementation. It's the very minuscule part. It's like, hey, should I take a multivitamin? And we can talk about that. Should I take creatine because my goal is performance and gaining strength? And we can talk about that. Or if you're vegan, what nutrients might you be deficient in? And so, yes, those things can be important, because obviously if you're missing out on some micronutrients, your body isn't getting what it needs on a day-to-day basis. But once again, it's such a small piece of the puzzle. It's like worrying about something that in the grand scheme of things is so minor in comparison to all of the other things. If you don't have enough B12 in your body, but you also aren't sleeping 8 hours a night, and your food quality is totally crappy, and you're stressed out, B12 is probably one of your lesser things that you'll need to worry about. You'll need to worry about the foundation, the things that make the most bang for your buck. And once that's set in place, that is when your body starts to heal. That's when you start going on that pathway towards health. You start pulling your hormone levels back to where they should be. Your body feels safer. It starts functioning better. Then the ball starts rolling and the clock starts ticking and you start moving in the right direction. And how long it takes is very individual. It also depends on how many years you've spent burning the candle at both ends, not taking care of yourself. And the longer that's been going on, the longer that this process will probably take. But hey, as I always tell people, what else are you going to do with your time? You can throw in the towel, say this is too much work taking care of myself. I'd rather just burn it down and see what happens. And then what? You already know what that's going to produce. More of what you already have, which is why you reached out in the first place. But if you do perhaps the more challenging thing and start implementing what's important for health, and maybe not sexy because it's not quick, it's not fun, that is what's going to lead you to where you ultimately want to go. So that's my explanation / rant / educational moment of this Wednesday. Like, what day is it? I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this, and shoot me a DM. I'd love to answer them, and I will talk to you guys soon.